Hi everyone, Dr. White here with your intro to Module 6. So in this video, I'm going to discuss briefly for you the reflective essay assignment. So go ahead and open it up. It's on Blackboard. I'll give you a second to pull it up. Pause the video now. Okay, so by now you should have the video up. So what I'm going to do here is give you a guided reading, and I'm doing this visually because I wanted you to see my face and know that I'm here and I'm still alive. It's been a while. So what we're going to do is go through this assignment sheet and start at the top. So similar to an author's note, a reflective essay considers your work for this course as evidence of your development as a reader and writer. And I have some keywords there that you might want to notice. Reflection, essay, evidence, development, reader, and writer. So under those, I have another paragraph to play with the definitions. Create a short piece of writing offering serious thought or consideration on the particular subject of your work in this course. Consider your work as the available body of evidence, facts, or information indicating this course has been an event constituting a new stage in your existence as a person who both reads and writes in particular ways. So what might be useful for you there to think about? Well, there's a built-in assumption, which is that this course has impacted your development as a reader and writer. This course has mattered in helping you advance from a kind of neophyte, someone up and coming in your discourse community, in your community of practice, and is helping you advance to the point of being an expert member. Now, obviously, you're not quite there yet. That's impossible to do in the space of one semester. I do apologize. I would do that if I could. But you've learned some things along the way. So what have you learned? Think back to the component assignments. We learned to identify and analyze the practices of both discourse communities, knowledge-making groups, and communities of practice, groups that exist to compile knowledge on actions and to then improve the quality of their actions. We've learned to assess the credibility, focus, relevance, and assemble sources into a knowledge front, the annotated bibliography, your collection of sources that we have. You've learned to write for a scholarly audience, a group of knowledge makers who are assessing your contribution to the field, and to engage them in a conversation about your research or inquiry question, how it might contribute to a larger conversation. We've then had that follow-up dialogue with one another, and we found common grounds within our communities to address one another, and we've learned how to adapt our precise inquiry question to a shared value or concern, and then we've translated that professional and scholarly discourse into an online project in a different medium that engages a wider readership, a readership concerned with not just the topic itself, but how it plays out, how it might impact their own lives. So we've reached different audiences who have different stakes in the topic, who approach it for different reasons, with different motivations, who access it in different ways. They're able to get different things from it. They're able to get knowledge, or they're even provoked to additional thought or reflection or research on the topic. Maybe they're engaged for the first time and they learn about the existence of a conversation they didn't know existed. We've learned to write for people who make knowledge. We've learned to write concisely. We've learned to write casually. We've learned to incorporate multimedia into our work in order to demonstrate and reveal the communities we work into a wider audience. Y'all have done an awful lot this semester. In fact, you've done more work than I really could have imagined. So you've learned an awful lot. Now it's time for you to come back to the kind of conventional form of an MLA-style essay, something you're more or less used to writing, and you're here to talk about it. So if we're going to look at the assignment sheet, then I have your definition for the project, and I have a little bit of a sample paragraph as to how you might build something using a couple of different examples. So one of the tricks with this assignment, and you can read that example paragraph on your own. One of the real tricks to this paragraph is to do something more than summarize what you did. I know what you did. I've read your work. I teach the class. What you want to do is, rather than just summarizing what you did, you want to group it and think about why you were writing. who you were writing to, what rhetorical strategies did you use, for what reasons, what mediums did you use. And so what you want to try to do is group your work according to practice, things like peer review, style, formal language versus informal, audience, accessibility. You want to kind of think of your work that way rather than just A, B, C, D, E, F. We want to make sure that we're thinking about this analytically rather than just summarizing. So along with that, what we want to do then is look at a trajectory. What's the trajectory of this course? What have you learned? What have you accomplished? Where did you start? Where did you end? And you will have progressed in some ways more than others. So for instance, say you came into this course as a kind of skilled researcher. You were very comfortable with academic work. You were used to using the library databases. You had written annotated bibliographies before. You had written for conferences. You had attended conferences. But maybe you've been working long hours on your rotations, or maybe you've had part-time jobs and you haven't had time to really engage a wider audience. Well, then you probably learned about public writing and engaging a wider audience via online mediums. Maybe you were very comfortable speaking informally about your work because you come from a family of healthcare practitioners and a lot of your experiences and your shared values come from the community of practice broadly conceived, but you didn't have an academic background in it. Well, now you've learned to research and use scholarly sources to make an argument and to present knowledge as opposed to just talking about what it is you do. So each of you will have learned different things, and maybe it's all new to you. Maybe you got all of this that we did. That would be fantastic. And maybe there's some ways you still want to learn more. Maybe the online composition project seemed a bit rushed and didn't offer you as much of a chance as you would have liked to engage a public reader for their needs. Maybe you would have preferred to write a long research paper and spend more time with scholarly writing. Maybe you're interested in doing more research and you want to go on there, so you feel like you have a long way to go. So it's helpful to kind of prognosticate a little bit into your own futures and see what's still left for you to accomplish. And there's a lot left for you to accomplish, and you're all going to accomplish wonderful things. But it might be helpful for our purposes of this essay to think specifically about what you might have worked on and what you didn't work on. For instance, you probably noticed that proofreading, grammar wasn't a huge part of what I taught of what you did. Maybe that's something that you need to work on more. Maybe it's something that's largely irrelevant because your writing's all intelligible in its own right, and in the field and even in research, it's not necessarily that important that you use perfect semicolons and commas after every dependent clause, yada, yada. There are bigger things out there. So you might also take this as a chance to kind of author a sort of value statement about what it is you did in this course and why it mattered to you, what your takeaways are, where you want to go with it, how you might see it being applied in the future. This is all fair game. This project's largely up to you, how you want to focus on it. I've made my suggestions, I've put up my samples, but if there's something that you want to talk about more than something else, unless it's really a radical departure from the samples and from the assignment sheet, in which case you'd want to clear it with me. Otherwise, you should be good to go with it. Some things you do want to consider. You don't have to focus on each unit assignment equally. Like if there's one you want to dig a little more into than another, that's okay. But each should be mentioned. Like you should acknowledge what you did. And similarly, what were the learning goals in this course? Well, you can go back to the syllabus and find them. You can also look at the individual assignment sheets and look at what they're asking you to do. And you might notice trends and patterns and how those kind of play into each other. You might organize your essay that way. It's really up to you. So look, this may be the last time you see my face this semester. So I want to again thank you all for your hard work. And I know that I asked you to do a lot. I know that you worked your butts off, and I know that the online media format can be challenging in a lot of ways. The work that I've seen from you has been excellent, and I've been remarkably impressed with the way that you've pursued a topic, researched an inquiry question, and appealed to different audiences using different rhetorical strategies, different platforms, written in different genres. You've demonstrated to me all of the learning goals of this course to varying degrees and for different reasons, and it's really been my privilege to read your work. So thank you, and thank you for watching this, I guess. Hopefully you're watching it. If you have any questions about the sample papers, of course, be in touch. yeah, that's it. Good luck on finals, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.